Thank you. You guys are cowards.
Alexander Stein.
Listen, I prepared a whole speech, but I just want to say, Mayor Munns, you're a coward. You need to look up the Streisand effect. By you guys limiting free speech, you just proved that we've affected your whole meeting. You guys are such pathetic cowards. You guys are scared of giving people 3 minutes to talk. And I'm the only reason that Plano's even getting any attention. I'm the reason why you guys are trending on Twitter. So you're so dumb. You can't even realize the attention might actually help your campaign. But instead, you're going to push back against it. And we're going to publicly embarrass you, Mayor Munns, worse than you've ever been publicly embarrassed. If there's one skeleton in your closet, I'm going to bring a whole graveyard up here, and I'm going to publicly embarrass each member here, except for Anthony. Anthony's pretty okay, and honestly, Rick's okay too. But I'm telling you, Julie, you're toast. Maria, you're toast. Mark, you're toast. All you guys publicly are going to get embarrassed in this meeting. I don't care if I got 1 minute. I don't care if I got 3 minutes. I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to disgrace the city of Plano, because let me tell you something. I had some respect for it, but our politicians, you guys think when you get elected that all of a sudden we work for you? That's not how it works, bucko. Y'all work for us, Maria. You work for me. That's why you got elected, but you're too dumb to realize that. That's the problem. You guys have two brain cells to rub together, and now you guys are trying to fight fire with fire. You're toast, Mayor Munns. You're toast. You're done. I'm going to publicly embarrass you worse than you've ever been embarrassed in your whole entire life. I hope you haven't had a divorce. I hope nothing. I hope
your time is up.
Oh, is it up? I can't hear you, Mayor Munns. I can't hear you because you're a coward. You're a coward, Mayor Munns. And I'm coming. I'm going to publicly embarrass every single person in this meeting. You guys have not seen the last of Primetime 99. I'm just telling y'all, you made a big mistake. You guys are fighting fire with fire.
Please.
Big mistake.
Shut up and sit down.
By all means, go for it. Have fun. Just leave me alone.
People are coming together more and more and more and more as the government has been failing us more and more.
I'm against being shitty to people.
You can't research your way into understanding somebody.
One way or another, I'd rather have the fight now.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Fight for Liberty Live. Tonight, I'm really excited about this show. It's one of the, I think it's going to be one of my favorite episodes I've ever done. That clip that we just showed is obviously one of our guests. The other one is my disgraced father. And we're going to have a good time. But first, we're going to talk real quick about sponsors because they keep the lights on, kind of, sort of. Nugg of Knowledge, if you would like some premium quality cannabis products and you live in a state where you can't legally get them, Nugg of Knowledge sells all the other stuff like Delta 8, CBD, CBG, all those things. You can go and use promo code F4L. You'll get 10% off. And you'll help out the show, the network, and awesome libertarians like Dan Berman and Tom Queter and other cool people that you know and love. So go check them out. And as always, if you're watching this on one of the evil big tech monopoly websites like YouTube, this isn't on Facebook because I'm still in a Facebook ban. This is on Twitter and a couple other places. Click the link in the description. Watch this on Odysee. Give them your view time, your data, your everything, because like they're actually a good company, and you should be using Odysee. But without further ado, let's bring on some guests. First and foremost, first time on the show, the one, the only, Primetime 99 Alex Stein. Welcome to the show, good sir.
Wow, David, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. And let me tell you something, with an introduction like that, I just have to say thank you because, you know, now I've always been Primetime 99. I was the captain of my high school football team, but now that it's being reincarnated in my 30s, it feels good. It feels good. So, and you know what? You just saw that meeting. They changed the whole policy. They limit now the free speech to 1 minute. And, you know, I can just tell they're running scared. As a matter of fact, I recorded it too. Like they talked for 20 minutes at the end of their closed session meeting about how they need to get rid of the public comment. So it's just funny that me going and speaking at these meetings is scaring these politicians to death. That should be a big red flag for the people paying attention, that these politicians do not want to be shamed or humiliated or hear the truth. It's like 1984. George Orwell was right.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm excited to talk about that. You've been making some waves. I've been talking about this episode with a lot of people, and most of them already knew who you were. I didn't have to explain it to you. But I'm also excited to have this conversation with one of my best friends on the planet, also my father, not really, the one, the only. He's the founder of You Are the Power Pack. He's also the 2020 Libertarian Party vice presidential candidate, Spike Cohen. Welcome back to the show.
You were the disgrace, not me. Not me. You were the disgrace, and that is why I left you behind. That is why these are not. Yes. See, a perfect example. I give you an opportunity to demonstrate that you are not the disgrace that you once were, and what do? You call me Alex Stein. You don't even know your own father's name. I'm disgusted.
Wow.
Great to be back on.
Wow. Okay, wait, Spike, but I know it's David's show, but so we got to hear from you. I've seen a couple of your meetings now that he mentioned at the beginning of the thing. So I kind of want to hear about, why do you go to speak at the public meetings? For me, it was the pandemic. So I guess my question is, were you speaking at public meetings before the pandemic?
I was not. That's been a relatively recent thing that we've started doing in order to it was actually started as a proof of concept last year. Can we go and bring enough people to essentially scare governments into doing the right thing? And about 2/3 of the time, the answer to that so far has been yes. So we're taking it. That's what You Are the Power essentially is going to be. We're going to have that happening. We're multiplying that dozens of times, eventually, hopefully hundreds of times across the country every day.
Well, dude, I'm telling you, like I said, I was just talking. I don't know if you saw what you heard because you might have been in the back room. But, dude, in Plano, they're totally changing up the meeting procedure and limiting the public comment. They're putting it, they used to be the first thing at the meeting. Now they're putting it at the end, and they changed it to 1 minute. So it just shows you that they do not like us. People like that listen to us or that hear us do this, they don't realize how effective it is to go there and speak the truth. They don't get that. It's actually kind of sad that just speaking at these meetings has a huge effect. No,
absolutely. I mean, that's the reality of things is that in fact, we had that happen recently in the most recent, now I'm at y'all, in the most recent meeting that we had in Gastonia, North Carolina, where we've been fighting that. We can talk more about that. They tried blocking us from even going in.
Why?
Police,
under what guise though? Like what did they say, that you're not citizens?
Fire code. They said fire code. And what they did was they packed the city hall meeting with city staff and like 6 other people that were there to talk about something that was already on the agenda. And they said, oh, we don't have room for open comments. First, they said that a couple of us can come in. But then when we went in, they said, oh, you're violating fire code. There's no room in there. There's no more room for anyone to talk. And you can't be in the hallway. This is a emergency ingress and egress in the event of a fire or, emergency and a need to exit. And so we said, okay, so we went back out. We called the media. The media came back out. They had covered our rally earlier, and they came back out and covered the fact that we were being blocked from coming in. And as we were being and also we were holding bullhorns and yelling our speeches into the city hall, which is a small old historic building, so they could hear what we were doing anyway. And so between all of that, they eventually let us all in to give our speeches. So we got more media attention. We definitely spooked them, and we demonstrated something that we learned during the campaign. If you're not going to let us do it in the building, then that's fine. We'll do it outside of the building and get even more attention.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the Streisand effect is real. Like, the more they try to limit it, it's just going to bring more attention to it. It's really sad.
Exactly.
So, Alex, where did you get the idea to put on the kind of performances that you do?
Well, one of my personal comedic heroes is Andy Kaufman. And so I'm not saying like when I first started going to these meetings, like, oh, I'm the next Andy Kaufman. I don't want to like try to sound like that. But I just noticed when I talk serious, well, I mean, kind of, but when I talk serious,
I'm trying to say it, but you guys can say it. That's fine.
I appreciate it. But this is what I'm saying is when I spoke earnestly and seriously, they just looked at me like I was a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist when I told them that we're going to have mandatory yada, yada, yada. And that, a lot of the stuff that they were saying is science. Wasn't actually based in science. They literally looked at me like I'm an idiot, like I'm the biggest a-hole that's even walked in the room. So once I realized, like, one of the first things is I called the mayor openly gay, and he's like happily married, supposedly with 3 kids. And I just saw the physical reaction. Like, I could just see his face turn white like a ghost. And that's when I realized, like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't be nervous. Maybe I should be the one making them nervous.
Yes.
And so that's where you take back the power, because like also I'd see in the meetings though, Spike, like people have serious concerns, and not that I didn't have serious concerns, not that I thought any of the, lockdown measures were necessary, but I'm saying the people had serious concerns, like, Child Protective Services took their kid because of some, innocuous thing or whatever. Yep. And they just looked at him like they're an idiot. They could give 2 craps about their problem. So that's when I realized, it's like, well, now I need to make myself their problem. Instead of telling them my problems, I need to become their problem.
Exactly. I wish The one bad thing about when we have the videos that I put up of me speaking to the council, we usually use the footage they have because it's better. It's like higher quality, HD.
It has the overlay. It's important. I just want to say, Spike, because it usually has like a little overlay that says the city. That's why it's good. It just looks more authentic. Sorry, go ahead.
It looks more authentic. It's got the name in it sometimes and all of that stuff. It's like I'm on C-SPAN or something. But the problem is, and why we're going to start recording it ourselves, is because I want people to see their reaction.
Yeah.
Because I go there and very often I see some kind of combination of confusion, fear, anger. And the reason is because usually the first time I come, I don't tell them who I am. And then when I get there, then I tell them who I am. And they wonder why someone who ran for vice president is in their town or their county meeting or whatever. And then I tell them why I'm there. And then I let them, know what the problem is and what our proposed solution is. And then I let them know that I'm going to be coming back and bringing more people every time until they fix it. And that has, so far, we have had, like I said, about 2/3 success rate, which is much higher than I thought it would be. I thought we'd be, spooking a lot of politicians and then they go and do whatever they were going to do anyway. And that has largely not been what's been happening. We're seeing a bit of a fight back in Gastonia, but we've only just gotten started bringing more attention to it. We're bringing media into it. We're bringing all sorts of people into it. And, they can explain why they're doing it, not just to their constituents, but to millions of Americans. That fear you see when they're horrified, they're not scared of you like you're going to hurt them or something like that. They're scared you're going to derail their getting reelected. That's where you hit them. You can't hit them in their conscience. You have to hit them in their fear of not getting reelected.
Yeah, like they just are so scared of being publicly embarrassed where it could affect them in the future because these guys are politicians, so they're phonies. Like, they're all about their outward appearance. So they don't like it at all when you go there and you rag on them and, like, you don't show them the same respect. Like, I remember in one meeting, this had nothing to do with me, but some guy kept on calling the mayor Eric. And one of the council members is like, that's the honorable mayor to you. Don't call him Eric. And that's what these people think. They actually think they're such honorable people because they won an election, yet they don't realize, and I mean, this is common sense, when they get elected, they work for us. We don't work for them. They don't have that. They don't have that public servant mindset. And that's the problem, is they don't realize there's a thing called being a public servant. That's what you are. And none of them act like that. They all act like they're the public hierarchy or the public pimp or whatever. They cannot be taken off their pedestal and they cannot be disrespected whatsoever, which is the opposite of the case in my opinion.
While they completely disrespect us, right? They aren't there to rule. They're not there to represent, which is what they're supposed to do. They're there to rule over us. That's the problem.
And that's seriously, like, and this is why people don't realize why it's effective, is we can only do this stuff at the lower levels. Like, you look at guys, and I guess you can speak to the legislation. I spoke at Connecticut and stuff on Zoom. But what I'm trying to say is, these people like George Soros, these evil people, they love local elections. They love putting a district attorney in. So that does mean that talking these meetings is powerful. So that's why we need to do it. We need to speak at every level. And people, like, when I describe the meeting, they're like, the mayor's there? The mayor's there? I'm like, yes, the mayor's there. You can go speak in front of the mayor. People don't realize that. So that's my favorite thing about this, Spike, and I'm happy you're doing it too, is more people realizing how the procedure works, who you can speak to. And yes, I'll admit, I'm doing it for clout. I'm doing it for attention because I want to bring awareness to not only my channel, not only myself, but to the issues that I'm mocking. But also, it's opening up the door for more people to speak in the future. And that is my favorite thing, is when somebody tells me, dude, I'm going to go speak at my meeting in, Gainesville, Georgia, or wherever, because I saw you. So that makes me feel the best. Even more than people are like, that was so funny.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We have a question from the comments. What made you want to go after Marin County, Alex?
Okay, well, it's Marin. I used to call it Marin County too, and they used to get mad at me, and then they realized, oh, you sound like a idiot. But one of my friends, I would have
kept calling it Marin then.
I know, me too. I'm from Texas. So we call that Marin County, but it's Marin County, and I had to learn that very fast. They have like a really open public speaking policy, and like a lot of these liberal cities, they just basically did Zoom meetings for, in perpetuity. Like, literally, they don't even want to go back. And so that opened the door for me in Dallas to be able to speak at certain cities. And Marin County has just an open, you don't have to sign up before. And because I had a friend there, this is another thing with the Streisand effect. This girl, Katie Rice, who they have a board of supervisors. Some is city council. It's different in different cities. But their board of supervisors cut me off. I had a speech that went viral. I just talked about how like a city employee slept with my wife and, blah, 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 and then all this stupid stuff. And the next time I was up, they just cut me off, and they didn't realize that's a Brown Act violation of a freedom of speech. So like I got the city attorney involved. I got all this stuff. So now I can go to Marin County and say whatever I want, and they can't do crap about it. So that's why I hit it a lot. I meant to hit it today, but I was just so busy. But you know how this is the thing, and Spike knows this. These meetings are going to continue to go on and on and on until they end it. I'm going to have endless opportunities. So that's why they don't realize, like, oh, they might shut me down for a week. They might shut me down for a month. But they got to come back. They got to, hear public comments eventually, because there's going to be people that have serious issues that want to talk, and the media will bring attention to it. So then I'll just be in there to slide under the door and publicly embarrass them.
Which is, I love that, Spike, you're using the media attention you already have from your run and from what you've been doing since, and really just like bringing that attention to these local issues. I got a security guard at the Greyhound in Philly really excited. I was there for like 3.5 hours waiting for my bus, and so him and I just had a very, very long conversation about politics and life and philosophy and all sorts of stuff. But he told me that he hates politics and he doesn't believe in it anymore because no one's actually doing anything that makes a difference. Yeah. And so I talked about For All Tennessee a little bit, and then I started talking about you and what you've been doing, and that you ran a campaign, you didn't win. So technically, like, that's like a check in his box. Like, you didn't make a difference in his mind. But then you actually use that to make a difference in local cities. And I actually was able to actively change his mind on and give him hope for the future of this country, thanks to like what you've been able to do. And I love the plan with You Are the Power and expanding this and making this more popular. I'm curious, how have you been finding these issues, and how do you plan on finding more so that you can speak more?
The problem isn't finding more. The problem is vetting what's handed to us. So because of what I do on social media, that's actually what started all of this. Coming out of the campaign, the end of 2020, I thought, okay, obviously we need to be working local. That's where we're most effective. Obviously, we need to be keeping these people engaged instead of, talking to them every 4 years or every 2 years. Like, we need to be keeping them engaged year round. And then, we have to do, so I'm on social media. I'm trolling, government agencies. I'm trolling, the big media agencies, the corporate media agencies, and all of this. And then I start trolling like police departments. And I shouldn't say troll. I'm going there and holding them accountable and saying, hey, why is this happening? Why is that happening?
Wait, real quick, that's considered trolling. Yeah. Just putting their feet to the fire is trolling. Right? Sorry.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, literally. Now, and I call it trolling because I would just go in and like do it sometimes with humor and stuff like that. But no, I'm literally just holding them accountable. And what would happen is now people start saying, hey, Spike, you should check this out. You should check that out. You should find out about this. You should find out about that. People that I already knew in the Liberty Movement are doing the same. In fact, Liz Coakleyard is a perfect example of that. She's bringing some information to me right now about stuff we're going to be working on in Indiana. And so that's not the problem, is finding stuff. Unfortunately, this is a target-rich environment for abusive governments across the country. It's very rare to find a government that's actually accountable to its people. They're usually very, very, very rare, because even the smaller ones are often sometimes the most corrupt ones. And so that's not the problem. The problem is vetting them to make sure that, what we're being told is true. And then also, that we're hearing the whole story, because there are times that we're told there's this terrible injustice, and then when we look more into it, it turns out it wasn't what we were told it was. And then the other thing is then to figure out what's the solution to that, because I don't want to just go there and piss and moan. I want to go there and say, this is the problem. Here's how you've created it or made it worse. Here's what you can do instead to fix this. And we're going to keep coming back in bigger and bigger numbers until we do it. So it's really more just it's like, how do you drink from a fire hose, which is why I've created You Are the Power, because it can't just be me and a handful of other people. It needs to be a grassroots network of activists across the country. I'm happy to come to some of the higher profile stuff, every single weekend if I need to, or every single week if I need to. multiple times a week if I need to. But there's going to have, if we're going to really make serious grassroots change at the local level on localized activism, it's going to have to be thousands of people across the country doing it, working together in a kind of decentralized fashion. And that's what we're doing with You Are the Power.
Wow, wait, I love that, all that, because like it does need to turn into like Fight Club where everybody's in every city. You know, I'm just using that as a metaphor. Speaking,
this
like
this is
that's
Fight
what it needs
Club.
to be.
Yes.
Yeah. It sounds
That's my other
goofy, but
show.
that's what it should. I mean, that's literally, and like, not obviously, we don't want to physically hurt any of these people. We got to keep it within the law, you know, the four corners of the law or whatever that term is. But at the same time, we do need to press these people and call them out for their bull crap. I mean, it's that simple. Like these guys, you nailed it earlier, Spike, when you said the smaller the government, the more corrupt it is. That's been my experience as well. Like if it's some podunk town, they can do the most hibbity dibbity bull crap. Yeah, so it just shows you like even Dallas is a big city. They can limit stuff, but really and truly they kind of have to let it go because they realize that, you know, oh man, there can be Freedom of Information Act. They can see that we're, you know, conspiring to not let this happen. They realize the ramifications of doing crooked stuff. These small towns, they're not worried about it because they're not thinking about it because like I said earlier, once they become a politician, they think that they're set in stone and that, you know, we work for them, which is not the case.
Yep. And when they're small like that, they don't really know the ramifications of what they're doing because they're never held accountable because they're in the shadows and no one's really paying attention, which is why they freak out when I show up with a few dozen people and half of them from their city who are pissed off at what they're doing. That has been watching these people wonder why so many people are there, wondering why they don't seem too happy and why they didn't, you know, call ahead of time to get on or write them ahead of time to get on the agenda. And then seeing a follow-up over the next several days and weeks of their social media being so filled with comments from around the country that they end up deleting their page. And every time they have a city
how many
council
people have deleted their page, Spike? I heard about that.
Police departments.
Yeah, we've had, as far as we know, and we've heard rumors of others which are hard to verify because they don't exist.
Yeah.
But my understanding is I've been responsible for 2 city councils, 2 police departments, and 1 sheriff's department closing their deleting their social media presence because they aren't allowed. You want to talk about free speech? They're not allowed to delete comments or block people. That's a First Amendment violation, and the high courts have recognized that. So they'll do that. Then a bunch of people flood their comments saying you can't do that. Here's the law you're breaking, and then they just delete their whole presence, which I'm fine with because then we'll go to their city councils.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's beautiful that you've got them to delete their social media. Like now, that's kind of my goal. I probably should sort of get some coordinated campaign. I mean, seriously, because like that's what happens at these meetings. One of the city council members was smart. They're like, you know, we've been doing this meeting this way for years. I've been a council member for years, and because this guy's been coming here for 2 months, we're going to change years long policy. This just proves that they're winning, and that's what they don't get. Like when they delete the page, like that means you're winning. So it's like these people are dumb. They should act like we don't affect them. They should act like we're just a fly on a, you know, whatever, cow's ass or whatever the stupid cliche saying is. But instead, they're giving us all the power by saying, oh, we got to delete our page because people are saying some mean comments. It's like, shut up. People can say mean stuff. That's a freedom of speech. They don't want us to have that.
No, they don't.
And
they don't.
To the point of like the smaller the government, the more corrupt. I think it's basic economics on the point of the political atmosphere there. The supply versus demand is non-existent. In Dallas, there are thousands of people qualified to be mayor of Dallas. There are not very many people qualified to be mayor of Phoenix, New York, my hometown. Like the mayor was the mayor there my entire childhood. It was the same mayor that I can ever remember. Like I literally do not ever remember a different mayor there. He's the only guy anyone in town could ever picture to be the mayor. It's just insane to think that like somebody else would challenge him and win because the mayor did an oopsies. Like it's just not a thing.
Yeah,
it's not a thing. Yeah.
And to your point, that's like another thing is like, you know, there are a lot of people that are qualified, but oftentimes like the people that are in power are just because somebody put them up. Like they're not even a good mayor. And that's the thing is like, you know, it's actually
I say qualified in like the socially acceptable way.
But I know what you mean. But I guess to my point is like, Spike, like, are you doing campaigns and trying to find dirt on these politicians? Because a lot of them do have dirt. A lot of them have, you know, whatever skeleton in the closet, or are you not even needing to use that? Because I guess in my mind, it's like, I wish I had some, something to just throw at him that would publicly embarrass him. But it's kind of hard because I guess my point is you get to be a politician because you don't have a lot of skeletons in your closet. Like that's why you make it, just because you're like, you don't have any history of being a deviant. So that's kind of why you get elected. So that's why it's kind of hard to call them out on their personal crap, even though a lot do, Spike.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of the time that's the opposite of the case. It's some of the biggest deviants, some of the worst of the worst because they're the ones who have no problem lying to your face over and over and over again and gaslighting you and telling you that, that you're crazy and, whatever you're thinking is wrong. And just keep lying to you over and over again. So to answer your question in terms of getting dirt on politicians, usually the stories that are brought to us come pre-dirted. Like they bring us the actual pile of dirt about everyone involved. Like going into Gastonia, we knew that the officer that wrongfully arrested the homeless veteran Joshua Rohrer and tased his service dog Sunshine, who later died. We know that officer Maurice Taylor III, that his father Maurice Taylor Jr. is the head of internal affairs. We knew that. We knew about the ties that the Gastonia City Council had to a group back in the 90s called the Eagle Team, which was a large group of police officers who supposedly were acting on their own accord, and no one else knew about it, who were going around beating, terrorizing, and in some cases killing the members of the homeless population there in Gastonia. And we're now finding out that it is very possible that the mayor was either the chief of police or part of the police department during the time that was all happening. So he certainly knew, at least after it happened, about the Eagle Team. And we also knew that in the last time I went there, we knew that in just the last 3 weeks now, 15 homeless people have suddenly died. So this is the kind of stuff that you find out when you're out here exposing this stuff on a regular basis. I have a feeling you, Alex, the more time that you spend on doing this, you're going to have, if you aren't already having it, you're going to have more and more people reaching out to you saying, hey, I'd like you to come and make fun of my council because they're doing X, Y, Z, and literally give you the whole laundry list of everything you need.
No, and they do. It's like I can't even go to enough meetings. People are like, "Oh, you got to call out this, you got to call that." It's like I only can go to so many meetings on so many days, But dude, you're right. There is a lot of dirt, but at the same time, it's like these smaller councils are the ones that can do the most, crooked stuff.
Absolutely.
So it's like it's just a hard. I guess what I'm saying is it's hard to pick your battles. Like now I'm beefing. Marin County, they mess with me, so I went after them. Now Plano's messing with me. I have to go after them. I can't go after every single one. There's only so many days in the week, and there's only so many nights I can go in daytime. So it's a little challenging, but yes, dude, I've even had, and I'm sure you've had this by council members, have reached out to me. Oh, I wish you'd come to my council and call out the mayor. Have you had that yet? Where members of some politicians have actually reached out to you? Like,
I have not had that yet.
Oh,
I have not had that yet. I've had former council members and former elected officials ask me to come and call out theirs, but I've yet to have a sitting council member say, come call out another member of our board or the mayor. I look forward to that. That'll be helpful.
Yeah, that makes me feel good because I have gotten that. And the reason why is because I guess I'm doing it in a comedic way. So some people do have, I'm saying some council members have a sense of humor, believe it or not. Most don't. The majority don't. But some of them kind of sit there and laugh because they realize it's just a stupid 3-minute deal. I'm not really affecting the meeting. But see, it doesn't become a stupid thing when they start changing the procedure or they start getting scared or you can tell they're nervous. Yeah. That's when it changes from being just a stupid, innocuous public comment thing to this like, oh my God, what are they going to do? And I love that. That's my favorite thing.
Yep. What I've learned in politics in general is, and this is probably true in life, if you're able to really, if you have an opponent or someone that you're working on something that they don't want you to work on, and you're able to get them off their game and have them off kilter, they start making stupid rookie mistakes that they wouldn't otherwise make. That only helps you. So, for example, limiting the speech time, knowing that they can get Brown acted for it, they can get free speech attacked for it, or the police trying to keep us out of the building and it backfiring because now we're out in the middle of the public square with bullhorns where now everyone can hear us. Otherwise, we would have been in the building speaking in respectful tones on a microphone where no one outside the building could have heard us. Maybe a few dozen people there would have heard us, and obviously everyone watching on YouTube later. But now you've got the actual public hearing us talk about this thing with this big rally with cameras there. And so then they suddenly let us rush in rushed out and let us go in there and start giving our speeches. And it was, we ended up getting much more than everything we wanted because they didn't just let us talk the first time. So it's like, if you can get them worked up, they do stupid things, they try to stop you, and it only ends up making you stronger.
Hey, what's the libertarian mindset of these public meetings? In a libertarian government, would you even have public meetings like this? I guess you would, right? You would have an open forum.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the government wouldn't be in charge of nearly as much of what it's in charge of in the first place. We'd leave a lot more to the people who we trust to conduct themselves as adults and not try to rule over them. But yeah, I mean, any government, any governing body that claims to have truly derived authority that's derived from the consent of the people that they presume jurisdiction over it requires that it allows full dialogue, open dialogue as often as possible with anyone who wants to show up to address their grievances, to speak for or against things, to give their piece of their mind about the people that are up there. Yeah, I mean, you have to. If you don't have that, then you can't claim that it's a government of, for, and by the people. You're to whatever extent you are limiting that, you are that much closer to being a dictator.
No, you're 100% right. And like you, though, I guess you probably, there's a lot of them you sign up online. And I'm sure you've seen the ones where you sign up in person. But it's funny because every single meeting has a system of like how to get the public speakers. And they kind of put off this impression that they want public speakers, right? You know, that's like they want. But really, when the public speakers start coming and they don't say what they want, they hate it. So it just shows you as simple and something as dumb as going and speaking at these meetings. If you're not saying the recommended, words or not talking about the agenda item that they approved, it totally rattles them. So it's like, it's just really effective. And I'm so happy, Spike, because I've seen your clips, but I'm happy to meet you and get connected with you because, dude, we have a bright future doing this. Like we were joking about the Fight Club thing, but this can literally become that. It literally can become where we're in every city because you know why? Well, the city I want to get the most is Chicago and Lori Lightfoot, but she has some sort of weird policy where like only 5 people can speak and then it's like a random draw. So what I'm saying is like, it's like that one might be more challenging. That one I might have to be more orchestrated to get in there and get somebody in there to call her out. But we should, like Lori Lightfoot should be one of the mayors we call out the most. But a guy that I've been going after is Ted Wheeler. I've had some viral videos where I pretended to be Antifa and I talked about how he let the federal building burn down for 60 days in Portland. Yet, thank God they arrested every January 6th person, joking. And it just kind of makes him look stupid. And now he's thinking about changing the public comment or making it where they only do it in person. So I guess my point is, by messing with them, they have to go back from doing it virtually to doing it in person because they know people around the world can now go to these meetings. So it's like, man, I just hope somebody's watching this and they say, you know what, I'm going to go call into a meeting. And like, if you're nervous, do one of the Zoom ones. I mean, you can still, people are sometimes nervous over Zoom, but you have nothing to be scared of if you're sitting on a computer talking into a webcam. Like, just turn the people off. When it's your time to speak, just look in the camera. I don't coach people, but I'm saying, like, I try to tell them the first time, like, don't even look at the people. But we really do need to organize, Spike, and get everybody speaking, whether it's a serious subject or a goofy one. It doesn't matter. You need to have your voice heard.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And the more that we challenge these limitations, which are blatant violations of the First Amendment, if you tell someone you have 2 minutes to talk, that cannot be argued to be anything other than an infringement on right to free speech and the right to redress grievance against government. I mean, it is simply that. Like, it is a perfect example of that. It is probably one of the exact things that the founders were thinking of when they wrote that, was that, the idea that if you tried to go to government, because this was before the internet and telephones and all of this stuff, if you were to try to go to the government and tell them you disagreed with them, they'd say, no, you can't do that. You have 30 seconds. You have a minute. So, I mean, that's a not only is it a textbook example, it's probably one that the government that the people that wrote the Constitution were probably thinking of as a perfect example of what they would not allow to happen. And that's the big thing with You Are the Power. Like I said, I'm only one person. You're only one person. Even if we did nothing but this and never stopped to do anything else in our lives ever again, we could only hit so many, right?
Exactly.
But the point of You Are the Power is creating this network of people who, yes, it's going to take me and possibly people like you and possibly many other people that are doing this who are more prominent to come out and get them excited. But once we get that rock rolling, once we get that going down the hill, now you're going to have more and more people that feel empowered to do it themselves and working together within the network of You Are the Power to go at. That's why we call it You Are the Power. The whole point is you can do this. If you are watching this, there is nothing stopping you from going and speaking to your local government about what your grievance is. And if you're a part of this network, you can join a bunch of other people, who will help you with promoting that event, help you with putting together any materials you need, help you with coming out if they're in the nearby area, so that you're not just going alone, you're going backed up both remotely and in person with an entire network of people who are there to stop bad actors in government from refusing to represent you and represent and respect and defend your rights and your lives and your property. That's the whole point of You Are the Power.
And it's funny because you do have power in numbers. That's why these people feel powerful, because they have a council member. They have like 11 people, even though they might not all be on their same political spectrum. They all are kind of against the person speaking. So you do feel better. Like when I come with friends, even though I was speaking at the meetings totally by myself when I started, it takes a little bit less of the pressure off. So it's like, that's why I encourage people, don't just go by yourself, encourage a friend to go and talk about something serious. There is something wrong in your city that you can bring up. And if there's nothing wrong, go talk about how great your city is. I don't think that's the case, but seriously, go and thank these people. Go just have an open dialogue, because you said it gives you power. You using your voice. Like I know people that called in and they, said something serious and they're like, oh man, that was such a rush. It was an adrenaline rush. That alone is enough to do it, guys, just for the good feeling that you feel the 30 minutes after you do it. So, people like you and I that do this, it doesn't really have the same effect probably now. Now it's kind of almost more like a business transaction trying to speak to these people. But for somebody that's watching this, that's never spoken at a meeting, I'm telling you, you're not going to like say everything. It's not going to be perfect your first meeting, but you will leave there and you will be happy. You'll be like, wow, I did something. I spoke my little 3 minutes and whatever. And you will actually feel better about your self-esteem. And it's a weird feeling, but I promise you that's the case.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad
the first one's always the hardest. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're bringing up like the nervousness and the kind of self-esteem of it, because one of the things I want to ask you, Alex, I don't know you as well, but I'm assuming with what you've been doing, you can relate to this. Like even your close friends and family participate in this, let alone your enemies. People make fun of you guys like a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How did you guys build up the kind of thick skin that you both have to just let that bounce off?
Well, I'll answer this first. Like the Dallas D magazine here in Dallas is writing a hit piece about me. It comes out April 28th. Like they're like scared of me because, Spike's already been a politician, but they want to nip it in the bud because they realize, oh, this guy can go publicly speak in front of a group and not be scared. So they don't want me to become a politician. So my exact thing, and I'm not saying this sarcastically, the more they hate me, the better I'm doing, the happier I'm triggering. It's like a wrestling heel or something. You know what I mean? Like I actually I'm serious. I want to trigger them. I don't want that. I like it with like these journalists and stuff that are writing bad stuff about me. Go figure, because there's some people that like me and I'm not doing it just to appease. I know that I'm not going to please everybody, but I'm telling you, if you lean into the wrestling heel aspect, and I know that I actually am making people upset or I'm triggering them or I'm making them think about what's happening, then I win. Then I'm living rent free in their head that they got to tweet about me. So I love the hate. I'm serious. I'm like Roddy Piper or whoever, the Undertaker. Yeah, I really honestly like it when I see them on the internet bashing me. Now, when they make fun of my appearance and this and that, yeah, I got a self-esteem, I got insecurities, but it's like water off a duck's back. I really don't care. I mean, like I said, I really do like it. But at the end of the day, that's when I know I'm being effective, because I spoke at these meetings and nobody noticed. I don't want that to happen. So I'd rather have an avalanche of hate and get some attention for it, because I know what I'm doing and I'm going with my gut and I'm doing what I feel is right. Then I'm okay with the hate that I get.
Yeah, the heel thing is a big part of it. I try to be a bad cop. I want to go in there and scare them so that the local activists can go, man, if he comes back here, it's going to be a mess. Why don't we just work on this? Is there something we can work out? And that's what's happened in a lot of these things, is I'll go in there. A couple of times I've gone in and convinced them that what they were doing is wrong. Other times I've come in, left them like this, and then the local activists, the local libertarian affiliate members, whoever brought me out, reaches out to them and says, listen, we don't want this to keep happening. He's going to come out. He's going to write an op-ed in the paper, because that's the other thing. I go straight to the media and I CC all of them and say, hey, you want an op-ed about this? And so they get, he's going to write an op-ed. He's going to make a big mess of this. just work with us here. We're just trying to get this thing worked out. We don't want to bring this guy out. You know, we had to pay for his flight to come out. We don't have to do that. And he's going to come here and, you know, yell at you again. Like, don't do that. So I lean into it. In terms of like fear of being made fun of, I'm a libertarian, and we get like, you don't not get made fun of as a libertarian, and I've been nerdy my whole life, like giving up on, being scared of being made fun of. I gave that up a long time ago. And being scared of, I think some people have mentioned, like, scared of repercussions. Like, I'm calling out the police. I'm calling out the ATF. I'm calling out the FBI. I'm calling out the CIA and the NSA and the DEA and then all of these small governments. I'm about to pick a fight with my local government here in Myrtle Beach. We're about to illegally feed homeless people this summer. We don't have a date picked yet, but we will soon. We're going to illegally feed homeless people because for some reason it's illegal to feed homeless people. So we're going to go and feed them some delicious sandwiches and tacos. And when the police come up, we're going to offer them some sandwiches and tacos. And, then when they say that they're going to arrest us, we'll say, okay, fine, you have to arrest us in front of all these camera and media and everyone else. And the thing is, 6 years ago, when I was diagnosed with MS, the only thing that I care about at this point is that took away any fear that I had of anything else, because the worst fear that I had in my life was having some like deadly, not deadly, but serious uncurable illness. I have that now. So that's over. That fear's gone. So now my fear is that realizing that 150, 100 years from now, however many, none of us will be here. All that's going to matter is the legacy we've left behind. Did it help people? Did we leave behind a positive legacy? Did it even matter that I was here? That's the only fear I have, is that for however long I'm here, that I don't make some kind of an impact and help people around me. That's the only thing that drives me at this point.
Wow, Spike, you nailed it with that, because I have that same mindset too. It's like life is so meaningless. I mean, whether you're religious or not, I believe in God. I'm just saying life really, at the end of the day, it's like, even, I don't know why I use Kobe Bryant's example, but like people were sad when Kobe Bryant died, but nothing changes. Everything goes about their business. Everybody has their lives. I'm just saying, everybody, it doesn't matter who you are, if you're the greatest basketball player or whatever, you're some famous celeb, nobody cares. Betty White dies, everybody, the next day, people are tweeting, it doesn't matter. So what I'm saying is, when you go to these meetings, you do need to leave your stank on the world. We need to leave a mark, and that's how we do it. Because maybe not every video goes viral, but just the fact that I've had a couple viral videos, like at least we're creating something that will be here when I'm gone, when I'm dead and gone, that will still be here. And so that is what's most important. And like, obviously you're a content creator, and Spike, as a politician, like what people don't realize is, and you've written, what I'm just trying to say is, we need to create something in life. It can be a family, it can be whatever, but we have to leave something when we leave this earth. And that's what I think, like I'm not trying to virtue signal right now, but that's one of the reasons I do it too. It's like, man, at least I'm speaking to people, I'm calling out these people that a lot of people are afraid to do, and they will know me as Alex Stein. When I die, if I died tomorrow, they'd be like, oh, this is the crazy guy that went and spoke at all the city councils, and that's what, caused all that drama. And I'm fine with that. I'm okay with dying and that being my legacy.
Kobe's a great example of that too, because like, I still fucking say Kobe when I shoot something towards the garbage can from across the room. Like he's still Kobe, like even afterwards.
Yep.
But nothing changes. I'm saying when he died, I mean, there's some conspiracies or whatever, but nobody, nothing changes.
Yeah. One thing you said, Alex, I want to tell you, it's not virtue signaling if you're actually doing the work. Anyone can get out there and say, I am against the bad things and in favor of, and hear me out, the good things. and not do shit about it. Like, anyone can do that, but when you're actually like showing up and demonstrating like you are and like I am, and like David did that horrible time before. We'll talk about that later.
David, you only did it one time, real quick, Spike. I don't want to cut off because you're flowing. But wait, David, you did it and stunk. What happened? You went and spoke?
No, we don't have the time to talk about.
Okay.
There's a long inside joke between.
All right. Sorry, I cut you off, Spike. I know you were saying something good, but
sad. Oh, what a sad day for our town that was.
Okay, you were talking about the virtue signaling, how it's not virtue signaling because we're actually doing something. Go back. Sorry,
yes.
I hate that.
We're out here, we're actually doing it, and we're inspiring other people to do it, and we're trying to create something to get other people to do it. You're talking to people, giving them that encouragement, you kind of almost coaching them along. And, your first time is going to be the hardest. It's okay. These people are idiots. You're smarter than any of them, all that. I'm creating a group that's going to create a network of people who can do that. We'd love to have you be a part of it. We'd love to have you
join it. No, Spike, I'm dead serious. I'm pumped up. I didn't even know you had that network, dude. I'm going to be plugging that, and I'm going to get people in Texas to join it. No, I'm really excited.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. This is not virtue signaling. This is actual virtue. This is actually being a virtuous, good person that is accomplishing things, that is demonstrating that the people who pretend to have all this power over you have no such thing. Just your ridicule horrifies and scares them. Imagine what happens when we have enough of a network together that they know that they can't get reelected unless they listen to us and do what it is we're saying, which is literally just respect us, respect our lives, respect our rights, respect our money and our property, respect who we are, and stop trying to lord over us as though you're our rulers.
Well, and this, I didn't create this term, but people are calling it what I do. I used to call it astroturfing, but it's called culture jamming. It's like you're taking the worst parts of our society, like how we basically, the 99% of society has to bend over and capitulate for the 1%. Like it kind of looks like Leah Thomas and a lot of issues like, with, mandatory this or mandatory that. So what I'm saying is, I think for me, the most effective thing is jamming their culture back in their face, or just jamming whatever fake reality they want us to live in of bullcrap. If you can jam that back in their face, for me, that's been the most effective thing in waking people up, because I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'm a guy that believes the government is going to lie to us constantly, and I have a lot of evidence for that. But what I'm saying is, if you told somebody that, yeah, I know. But I'm saying if you told somebody that, yeah. But Spike, the problem is, you tell somebody the fact, like you talk about the Iran-Contra, about how we, brought in drugs and traded guns with Nicaragua, and then put them on the streets, and like you talk about the border between.
About that today.
Yeah. I'm just saying, and you talk about the border between, Mexico and Texas, and how the fentanyl is going, and I've had friends die of that. Yet everybody's going to talk about the border between Russia and the Ukraine, and Kamala Harris won't even go there. If you just jam this in their face, like I've been doing it on a street level now, where I've been pretending to campaign for Beto, talking about, are you willing to transition 5-year-olds? Are you willing to give them puberty blockers? And even people that were on the left are like, wait, what? This is what we believe in? So I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, that for me, you can speak serious, but the culture jamming like the worst parts of our culture that we appease to right in their face, it wakes people up. They're like, wait, this is what I look like? Because it wakes up people on both sides. The people on the left are like, I look like this goofball. And the people on the right are like, oh, I'm dunking on you, idiot. So it's kind of like, I guess what I'm saying, it causes a reaction from both sides. Because let's say if I was just, and I don't even consider myself very conservative. I consider myself more of a populist than like some, right-wing, ultra-right guy. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, when you go there and you act real serious, that is effective. But for me, the most effective has been putting a mirror to what the mainstream media says and what the crazy agenda items that they're currently trying to get passed, like, being more acceptance of transgender people, which I'm not transphobic. I'm just saying they're actually putting in laws where trans people can use any bathroom. A guy can just go in the girl's bathroom. That's kind of weird. You know what I mean? And like, people don't realize that we're making legislation in order for less than 0.08%. So it's just jamming that idiocracy right in their face. When Idiocracy is not a movie, it's a documentary. It's not a fictional movie.
Well, one of the biggest problems of the culture war is that we have the government deciding what's being done with bathrooms instead of just letting the people who own those bathrooms decide what happens in those bathrooms. Yeah. And this is like, we've seen it, in North Carolina, there was one of the cities that mandated allowing transgender people in the bathroom of their choice. So then the state of North Carolina banned the use of transgender. And it was like, why would we not let the owners of these bathrooms decide this? And so it's a perfect example of, like, we have the government that has us at each other's throats over like where people are peeing. And instead of just like letting Walmart, Target, mom and pop shop, you at your own house decide who can or cannot use what bathroom and in what manner because you own it. Like the same thing as, who you let in your car or anything else. And but what you're saying about the satire, a perfect example, the reason that so many people consume their news now through like late night news and comedy central, the Daily Show and like the John Oliver show and all of that stuff. The reason they're doing that is because the system that we are in, everyone intuitively recognizes that the system we have has devolved into, if it wasn't always, a kind of sick and cynical joke. And so they're figuring, well, if it's going to be a joke, I might as well have it presented in a funny way where someone else is the punchline instead of me always being the punchline, because that's the system, is us being the punchline. And what you can do with satire, you're doing it. Another person that David and I know very well, named Vermin Supreme, has done it for decades now. When in his runs for president of essentially of New Hampshire, and showing up to the primaries, by shining a light on these people who have to try to act serious through the whole thing, shining a light on how ridiculous it is, what they're trying to impose on us, and how they're trying to rule over us. It just demonstrates that it is stupid. It is as dumb as you think it is. The fact that they're putting on this veneer of professionalism means absolutely nothing. Them wearing their fancy suit means the same thing as you wearing the fancy suit you're wearing right now while you go up there and start rapping. And that's it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
What I love about your satire too is that it's good. For the longest time, the first thing that I saw from you was the vaccine rap video. And
yes,
I thought you were being serious. Like I really thought you were just a fucking moron that was really pumped up about the
reason why you think that though, David, is there's so many TikTok nurses dancing and doing crappy stuff. Like they even paying influencers to shill the vaccine. It's like we live in this weird reality where it's like every nurse is in the ICU doing like a conga line dance. So when you see somebody doing it in a public meeting, you're probably like, wait, is this guy real? Like, is this real? And that's like the Andy Kaufman-esque aspect of it, is we do need to blur the line of reality and fiction, because that's what makes people wake up and start using their brain to be like, is this real? And then they have to look like, oh, he's a comedian. Oh, I got trolled. Oh, whoa, is this the reality I live in? Like anybody can just trick me. And that's kind of like, I want to be the magician that reveals the trick. I don't want to actually just really, I do want people to think it's real. But at one point I want them to realize, oh, you got trolled. It was a joke. We're trying to bring awareness to the stupidity that's currently going on, and everybody dancing and laughing at our face when, people we're having the worst, pandemic in the history of the world other than the plague.
Yeah. I was, after you did the World War III video, So I watched like the first half of it and started interacting in the comments. And then I saw Clint Russell defending you. And I was like, the fuck? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me in any way, shape, or form. And then I finished watching the video and you just got more and more ridiculous. And I'm like, oh my God, this is satire. Holy shit. This is the most brilliant thing I've ever seen.
I had that same,
life.
when the first time I watched it, the first minute or two, I'm like, this is the most cringy doctor ever. And then as it went on, I'm like, there were a couple things. You started dropping some stuff where I'm like, okay, this is satire. But it took, I think, at least a minute into it where I'm like, someone is this pathetic. Like I really, like I was the same. I was the same place David was. And then there was, I forget what it was, but there were a couple things you said, and I'm like, okay, this person is making fun of someone who would think this. I forget what it was, but I will tell you. I mean, I have a pretty finely tuned sense of sarcasm. You had me for the first minute. I thought
that's good.
Watching something
this is a vice president candidate right here. Vice presidential candidate. I even tricked him.
I came in third. Not just any vice presidential candidate. I'm the third place vice presidential champion of.
Hey, bronze is a bronze medal. I'll take it. I mean,
if there was a podium, I would have been the guy in that meme, like biting it, and like I would have been the guy in the third place podium.
Isn't that funny though? How it works in this day and age? It's like that meme is kind of real, because now you look at like the Leah Thomas swimming thing. Well, I mean, and then like Leah Thomas is in first place and like is not even really celebrating, and you can tell. Then there's that picture where like the other competitors are like actually huddled together, like they won. It's kind of like, oh wow, that meme kind of came to life. It's not exactly like that, but like Leah Thomas has to realize that he swam on the boys team for 3 years. And that, he won or she won, whatever you want to call her, a race that was not fair. I mean, like you wouldn't let these people take steroids. So why would you let a guy take hormone therapy? And that is supposedly leveling the playing field. So it's really like this meme war. We're in this culture war that we're fighting with memes, short videos, and, internet culture. And a lot of it is coming to reality right in front of our faces. It's actually kind of shocking.
Yeah, I am that meme in that I'm literally that guy who celebrated. Like there's not like a removal of it. Yeah. With the exception of there not actually being a podium. Like I grabbed my wife and kissed her after I got third place. Like I did, if someone had handed me something made of bronze, I would have bitten it. Like I was that.
Could you imagine if they actually had a podium for the presidential race? Like you actually had to stand next to the other two
I would've done it.
candidates.
That would have been great.
Probably.
But see, that's the other thing is too, is like we have this two-party system that's totally rigged. That's just a bull crap. Like we're never going to actually get anything fixed when it's like, you know, just some crooked system of two parties. Like if people are so dumb though that we even signed up for this, or that's even the current state of affairs. It's we should have more options. But sadly, this world, unless more people speak up, it's never going to change. And that's what really kind of what scares me. That's why I'm like worried about the future. And that's why you said earlier about leaving our mark. At least people know when I died like, 50 Cent said, get rich or die trying. I'm going to die trying. I promise you that.
Hell yeah. Were you going to say something, Spike?
No, I was just trying to figure out why your face stopped moving.
Yeah, I think it froze for a second. It kind of scared me. I thought sometimes I think it's my internet where that's going to drop. But dude, this is the other thing though, Spike. I want to say this, like with the what is it? We are the power.
You are the power. You are the power.
Yeah. This is the thing is we do need to make this like America throughout America. More people. I know you have a big platform. I have a big platform, but I want to connect with you and try to get this out to more people because I said this earlier. I'm telling you. Like I really enjoy when people say, "Oh, you made me laugh," or this and that, but nothing more than I like when I did this and somebody says, "Now I went and spoke up." So like it empowers people. Like that feels so good when people tell me, "Oh, I spoke." Like that's what we need to do to make change. So I'm just really excited that you even put that together. And I was kind of formulating something like that in my mind, but I was like, I don't even know if people are going to want to sign up, this and that, because a lot of people do reach out to me. I mean, I do, they're saying, oh, I'm going to speak now. But I guess in my mind, it's like, how do I even organize it? Because all the meetings are in different days. But now that you kind of laid the groundwork, I feel like I can give you some of my ideas and we can make something. Not that you're not already successful, but I'm just happy somebody else has a similar mindset, like-minded. That gives me a lot more hope for the future, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And I would love to do, I would love to do some of these that are satire heavy to drive home a bigger point or a greater truth. I definitely look forward to talking with you about this because we want to hit on every front and we're going to start local. I mean, we envision a time when eventually we're doing this and the Senate and Congress are deleting their Facebook pages, but but at least for now, we're focusing where we're the most effective and where we can effectively organize people. And that's at the local level, the county level, in some states at the state legislative level. But for the most part right now, local and county level to build that grassroots army of activists across the country. I look forward to working with you, man.
The future is like I said, I've this definitely like in my mind, I'm a conspiracy theorist. So I firmly believe that they want us like all one race and one sex. Like if we live to, a million years longer on Earth, they'd literally, their agenda would be one race or one sex of human being. And they want to plug us into the metaverse and all this crazy conspiratorial stuff. But I don't think that's going to happen in my lifetime. So I guess my point is I want to actually make these changes. I want to try to fix that and try to make that before any of that dystopian nightmare stuff can become possible. So it gives me a little bit of hope instead of being all black pilled like the world is pointless and it's just nothing matters. This gives me hope. This conversation gives me a little more hope for the future, Spike. And this is another thing is I don't have anything to lose. Like I have a YouTube channel and they can kick me off the internet. Now that would suck. But Spike, too, you don't have anything to lose. That's why I don't live in fear of it. Like a lot of people are afraid, but I guess the most dangerous person is somebody that doesn't have anything to lose. And that's what makes me so happy is that they are afraid of us because they know that we're not worried about being judged by others. We're not worried about getting a little backlash. And so we are really the biggest thing that they should fear is us waking a sleeping giant and getting, more community people involved in this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we get shed on a lot as libertarians as being losers, but you're making a really good point there. And I think the powers that be underestimate what happens when a bunch of losers with nothing to lose congregate and decide to take one final stand somehow. Like, it's a completely different vibe and energy of just, all right, yeah, no. I mean, like, and Spike, you were talking about like repercussions for going after like the DEA and the FBI and the CIA. We literally fucking walked up to a CIA table at a convention 2 weeks ago and trolled them to their face.
Wait, slow down. What CIA? They had a recruitment table or what was it?
Yeah, so we were at South by Southwest in Austin, and the CIA had a table there. And I'm like, all right, we have to go up to it. I wish we had recorded it. In retrospect, we had to record. No one's going to believe this. But but I have a witness, my only begotten and abandoned son, who would have no reason to back this up. I've never. Oh, and Joanna was also there. Joanna Jorgens was there. And so we walked up. They had all these different booths at South by Southwest. And one of them was the CIA. And I'm like, and they didn't even have much materials up. It just said CIA. And I'm like, so we went over and I said, okay, you got me. Why is the CIA here? And they said, oh, it's part of our diversity and recruitment. We're letting people know about how we're being diverse in, hiring as many people of color and LGBT.
Like you did see that diversity video though, where they're talking about how intersectionality and all that stuff in the CIA. Go ahead.
Intersectional imperialistic fascism. Yeah. And so, we're recruiting as many POC and LGBTQ to commit mass murder and subterfuge around the globe and destabilize entire regions of the planet. I'm paraphrasing what they said. And so I said, oh, that sounds fantastic. I said, unfortunately, you don't want me. I'm just a white man. And I also oppose your fascist imperialism. And so then I had a conversation with one of them about golf courses in Myrtle Beach, which was nice. And then I live in Myrtle Beach, and they were trying to make small talk to stop me from doing what I was already doing. And then when
they
we
are
ended,
CIA assets, so they should have a little people skills.
One would think, right? So I talked with them about golf courses because I'll talk about golf courses. And then at the end, I said, they were like giving me contact information. I said, this is great. I said, I don't need to give you my contact information. You can just keep in touch with me on my phone like you already are. And and then we just spent the next 10 minutes making these silly like prison photo poses in front of their logo. Like we're just sitting there like that.
That's cool. Trolling.
Like that.
That's trolling.
And they just
we need those
very
pictures.
uncomfortably sat there while we did this, and other people are watching us do this. In retrospect, now we absolutely needed to have recorded that on video. Like that.
Yeah, I wasn't close enough to have gotten any good audio. That was my issue.
That's the problem. It was very loud in there. Yeah.
And that's another thing. It's funny you say that. Like one of the meetings that I got the most kickback was in an EPA, Environmental Protection Agency meeting. I forget like how I even signed up for that, but these alphabet agencies, even if it's the EPA or CIA or FBI, they're being weaponized against us, and they're basically mocking us by creating videos like, well, the CIA is all about intersectionality and hiring LGBTQ. They don't care about the LGBTQ. It's just like these multinational corporations that post a gay flag during the gay month or a black square when George Floyd dies. It's just a bunch of, they're actually fake virtue signaling to us. People don't realize. That's virtue signaling. And we don't even need these alphabet agencies. Like, I can't even tell you what the CIA does. I mean, obviously they do a bunch of stuff, but they're not, their benefit. I mean, they don't benefit you and me or we, the people. They're literally just trying to arrest us. And that's another thing. It's like the IRS. I mean, dude, the IRS, all these things, they literally, if you don't pay your taxes, they're going to throw you in jail. But if the banks give a bunch of bad loans to 2008, they're going to bail them out. So it's just, rules for thee, but not for me or we or whatever the saying is. It just sucks that we have a rigged system and these people, these alphabet agencies, they have their thumb on the scale, and it's never going to be fixed until we do something about it, or at least we troll them into we troll their pages so they have to delete themselves off the internet.
They have to delete themselves from the internet. I mean, the CIA cares so much about the LGBTQ community that they give money to terrorist groups and foreign regimes that throw gay people, suspected gay people, from the tops of buildings and behead them. Yeah.
And you say that, dude, and we're virtue signaling for Ukraine, yet if you're transgender, you can't go to Poland. You have to go on the front lines. And then we do all this stuff for China. The NBA won't even mention China, yet the Disney's like, oh, we're not going to fund because they don't say the Don't Say Gay bill. But in China, they airbrush John Boyega off the Star Wars poster. So they don't care. They will go and they will subvert. They will go into these other countries and follow their cultural rules while trying to, make us live in their weird fake world of everybody, the Don't Say Gay bill is terrible. Yet they're trying to get Disney ingratiated in countries that will throw you off a roof if you are gay. So they're all hypocrites. That's the problem.
Yeah, you even mentioned the big multinational corporations during Pride Month. My favorite thing to post, I post it every single year, is just side-by-side logos of just like side-by-side screenshots of their American Twitter page and their Saudi Arabia Twitter page.
Yeah.
Because they always make a new pretty logo.
That's an excellent. I'm going to do that.
And then every year, the Saudi Arabia shit stays the fucking same.
I'm gonna. So the next that you get, they gave me some great ideas for June. I go to some of these big pages and say, "Hey, why haven't you changed your Saudi Arabia page?" Or, "Hey, why are you opening a factory in this country that throws gay people from buildings or something like?" There's something there. That's something to work on.
100%, dude. And then look at this. We'll bend over backwards for Apple, but if you look at their Foxconn factories, they have to have suicide nets because so many people are throwing themselves off the roof.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's do you think these companies actually care about their employees? Just don't work them to death, or they're so depressed they have to kill themselves. But they can't do that because at the end of the day, they have shareholders, and they have the bottom line. We got to make money. When none of that money matters, they're already going to be the biggest company. They have all the money in the world. They don't need any more of it. So it's really just.
If you've ever been to Cupertino and Apple campus, that they don't need any more money.
Yeah, I mean, everybody buys an iPhone, and even Galaxy goes against it. You don't think Samsung has plenty of money? I'm sure they have suicide nets on their factory too. I don't know that. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised. It's like these corporations, they're soulless. They don't have the ability to feel empathy or feel sorry for people that don't have money, and that's why they're trying to fake virtue signal. But their virtue signaling is bullcrap because you nailed it in Saudi Arabia on Pride Month. It's going to be a black, logo. It's not. It's as a matter of fact, they'll even change the logo so it's even more opposite than the pride flag. They'll make sure that it's not even associated with it. I've seen it on, I forget which company. It was a Volkswagen or something. They had the Saudi Arabian flag. So when they turn it to the Pride Month flag, the rainbow flag, they even change it from a flag, period. They change it to the Volkswagen logo. So they didn't even have a flag. They couldn't even say, "Oh, well, why didn't you change the flag to the gay flag?" They just wanted to totally try to
sidestep it entirely.
Yeah, sidestep it entirely.
Yep. Absolutely.
So
eventually,
that's virtue signaling. What we're doing
eventually
is not.
we want to get to some Saudi city councils, but that's later on down the road.
And you're right. You said earlier, we got to get to some Senate. We got to get to some House meetings. We got to get to some Congress meetings. And I am going to speak at those. But also, those are few and far in between. They're harder to get to. And, you get less time to speak.
You can't speak.
Yeah. It's just, and nobody's listening. And even their streams probably of resharing it's probably not that good. So it's just the system. I said this and I don't want to black pill and say it's hopeless because we have people that are fighting. But man, the system is so rigged against us. We really got to stand up before it's too late and that, we're just all dead and gone.
Absolutely.
I think that's a key piece of why obviously we've already talked about this and for other reasons, but we have to start local because that's the only place that that will matter once the society collapses. The way if you take the black pill, the same plan still applies. You still need your city council. You still need local networks. Decent because. Your town's probably going to still survive. If Adam Kokesh gets elected president and the federal government gets dissolved, your mayor's probably still going to be mayor.
You guys are libertarians. So you guys know what's the deal with Adam Kokesh fighting with everybody, fighting with Reed Coverdale and all this stuff. So we don't like Adam Kokesh, right? He's bad.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
You don't even know who it is? I mean, David
probably
knows.
No. I know who Adam Kokesh and Reed Coverdale are. I just don't know what you're referencing. I'm rarely on Twitter.
I'm just saying their fight. They had a Twitter fight today is what I'm referencing. And
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I'm unfortunately good friends with both of those people. Reed is my best friend. I've known him for almost 5 years. But I'm
going to tell them both you said that it was that you're unfortunately their friends.
But yeah, I'm staying out of that one myself.
Okay. Well, I don't need to know the scuttlebutt. I'm just saying it's just funny. They were fighting on Twitter, and then Adam Kokesh was like, "You won't say that to my face," and then Reed posted a picture of them standing next to each other or something. I mean, I just kind of want to know the drama of it. As a matter of fact, I'm actually interviewing Reed after this show at 10 p.m. So at 10 p.m. Central Time. Wow. Yeah, so we're kind of going double. We're double doing it. I'm doing a lot.
Well, then you'll be able to find out.
Exactly. Well, that's why I was asking you now, so I could kind of know what the heck happened. Yeah,
I don't.
You guys don't know.
David is unfortunately friends with them. I'm also friends with them, but I don't find it unfortunate. Again, another reason why I couldn't raise them. But I don't even know what you're
are you best friends with Joanna? Who's your best friends in the Libertarian Party? Basically, I mean, who's your running partner?
Who's your best friend? Yeah, is Joe Jorgensen your best friend?
Are you hate Joe? Sure. No, you hate. Do you not like Joe? No. I thought Joe's good.
I don't dislike Joe, but the campaign, I don't. Yeah, so I've learned on Twitter to spend just enough time on Twitter to say something that I want to say,
get
respond
off.
to the first sentence, and then go back to like somewhere else or go spend time with my family or something. But I Twitter is an absolute cesspool, and I find that the more time I'm on it, the less I'm enjoying that day, and conversely, the less time I'm on it, the more I'm enjoying my day.
Same.
So that's really and I can see how it's set up to be very addictive. But I don't have the time for the tension and drama. So I'm blissfully unaware of whatever's going on between Reed and Adam. I'm sure they'll work it out though.
Well, sadly, I'm a drama queen, so I love it. I'm on Twitter, like I need to get off it, but I'm like, wow, this looks interesting. This looks, I mean, with that in this day and age, like, dude, the entertainment that we get from the mainstream media is such crap. And I'm not saying Twitter, like you said, is a cesspool, it's an evil place. So Instagram, I could almost say it, like I don't even really check my Facebook just because it's like people I know. I don't even really want to post on there. But I guess what I'm saying is that there's such a lack of content and good TV shows. And I used to love watching TV shows and all media. So Twitter's kind of become my like new form of entertainment, sadly. And it's not a very entertaining place. It's kind of a dark corner of the internet. But like these videos are coming out of China of all these dogs and cats being killed. It just makes me sick. Like I would have never seen that if I wasn't on Twitter. So it's just a really dark, it can be a very dark place in a slippery slope. But it's like a necessary evil if you want to get out there and get media attention because all these idiot blue check marks are on there.
Yep. Yes. I get to be an idiot blue check mark on there, and but I can use it. I can use it, and it's effective in reaching other prominent people that I'm trying to make connections with. Like it has its use. I'm not disputing that at all. I'm not sure what makes. I think it's the limitation of characters. You aren't able to fully explain yourself, so everyone just bumper stickers at each other all day long. Maybe that's what it is. Whatever it is, holy shit, is it?
And it's because you can be shared. People can share it, and it goes on their page, and it's a little different than like a share on Facebook or share on anything.
True.
So that's why because nobody can get something shared and it can go viral or that. So it has the ability. True. Most people, it doesn't go viral, but it does have the ability to get seen by somebody that has 1 million followers or whatnot, and you can get your message out there. So that's why it is effective. Yeah.
That's how I do it. I tweet things and then Spike retweets them, and then people actually see them.
Well, see, well, when it's like they'll never give me a blue check mark, but that blue check mark Spike is so powerful because when that gets tweeted by somebody, the blue check mark, all of a sudden like, well, this is official.
It blows up. Yeah. So David one time wrote, I bet whatever I tweet now, Spike can respond and it'll get more reactions. And I said, I told you about my Uncle Hector? Like it didn't, like there was nothing of value of what I tweeted, and it got like
twice as many likes.
Yeah, I guess it 2 or 3 times as many likes. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. Duh. Yeah. People almost like innocuous, stupid thing now. In this day and age, it's like being dumb is like celebrated. Look at me, dude. I'm an idiot. And people are like, you're brilliant. You're so smart. I'm like, dude, no, I'm just not afraid. I mean, one thing they can call me, I'm fearless. Because you talked about like repercussions. So now I've went after this county judge in Dallas, and he got arrested for raiding a panty drawer when he was in college. And like I called him out. And that was like the one time where my dad was like, why would you go after the county judge? Like he could do something, criminal or illegal that make you look bad.
Yeah, he can hurt you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's like, why go after the county judge? But at the same time, he's like, dude, I got nothing to lose. I mean, I do have something to lose, but I'm really fearless because we need to call these people out. Nobody else will do it. So it's just, I'm not going to live in fear of somebody, because if he did come after me, he would have to do something illegal, right? Mm-hmm. So that doesn't necessarily mean that he couldn't get me. He couldn't gotcha or say I didn't pay my taxes, or I don't know what he could say because he's in a position of power. But I know that I keep my ducks in a row and that I don't commit crimes on purpose so that I can speak at these people and I can go a little off the wall without fear of actually having any serious repercussions, because I don't have a bunch of skeletons in my closet.
Mm-hmm. And I'm a little bit the opposite, but in a similar mindset. A lot of people talk to me, like I'm in Indiana right now, and cannabis is illegal in Indiana still. I drove to Michigan, bought some weed, and brought it back. And I openly smoke like while I'm driving and whatever. If somebody wants to arrest me for cannabis, or especially like the last job that I was working, people were like hiding the fact that they were smoking from our bosses. Like, if you're going to fire me for smoking weed at work, fire me. I don't want to work for you. Like, I'm done
capitulating.
I'm done towing the line. And the thing is, if somebody wants to arrest me for smoking weed, I'm going to make a big fucking deal out of it. They're going to help my career as an activist and as a YouTuber and as a Twitter personality. Like, all it will do is benefit me if somebody wants to arrest me at some protest or something because I'm using cannabis or trespassing or something like that. Like, fuck off. Like, please arrest me.
That's what my dad always says. Well, I just want to say this. That's what my dad always says. He's like, Alex, you might get arrested. In my mind, I'm like, that might be good. It might bring more awareness to what I'm trying to do. I'm not afraid of getting some sort of misdemeanor arrest or something. Sorry, Spike.
Yeah. All I was going to say, that's why David got fired from SeaWorld.
What? You were smoking the weed at SeaWorld? Is that really true?
He had a job at SeaWorld.
But let's talk real quick. I got to go here in a second. But, dude, because I got Reed on the show. But, dude, tell me this. SeaWorld, I love that documentary Blackfish or Blackfin or whatever it was. And he was
part of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Did you kill those people, the handlers? And I can't remember, is Tillicum or something was the name of the whale?
Yes,
and and it would grab the handler's foot multiple times and drug them under until they drowned. So it's like these whales are super smart. And you notice their dorsal fins, the ones at SeaWorld would be curved, and ones in the wild didn't curve.
They never do that. Yeah. And that was a big part of David was a big part of he would mistreat the orcas.
Would you bang the dolphins? Somebody had sex with the dolphins. Did you hear about that? No, that was the thing too.
It's the best episode of Drunk History that exists. Oh, it's by Duncan Trussell. It's great.
I just can't believe that.
Right.
Having sex with a fish. And I'm a horny guy. I mean, but a fish, come on, no way.
Right. No. Well, Alex, before you have to run, tell people where to find you, how they can support you, how they can get involved, pitch your YouTube show. Go for it.
Guys, okay, so listen, I'm a Primetime 99 Alex Stein. I'm on the ground all the time, and I'm just going to tell you this. I'm all over YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you can't find me, you aren't looking very hard, but I'd really appreciate it. If you guys, the best way you could support me is go speak at a meeting. I'm dead serious. Like, financially, whatever, give me $5. That's great. You join my Patreon. I appreciate that. I don't want to try to sound unappreciative, but I'm telling you, the best feeling I get if you're watching this, you're like, Alex, send me a message on Twitter. I have my message open that you went and spoke at a meeting. That's like the biggest joy that I get is when I can, I want to be a leader. I was captain of my football team. I'm just saying I like being a leader, and I like leading people into waking up from the tyranny that we're currently living under. So if you want to support me, go speak at a city council meeting.
Absolutely. And I'll echo that point. The best thing you can do is get involved in your local community. And we want to try to help you with that with You Are the Power. Stay tuned with my social media because we're launching that any day now. And my social media, it's the same. I'm on everything. If you look for Spike Cohen, you'll find me. My website is spikecohen.com. And, help my son here. Help him. He's not getting any support from me, and he never will. So be sure to go and support him financially and in every other way. He might need to crash at your place for a while. That's fine. Just help him. Anything he needs, please provide it to him, please. Thank you.
Very good, Dad.
I like your pajamas, by the way.
Thank you.
That's what I said. I said those are pajamas. He doesn't think they are pajamas. I don't think
they're absolutely pajamas.
Whatever they are. They're comfy as fuck. So,
because they're pajamas.
Because
you're literally wearing pajamas. That's why.
Loungewear. That's why you're meant to lounge.
You're wearing lounge.
At least I'm wearing a shirt, Spike.
Hey,
what? Spike is a shirt.
I have a shirt. I have a shirt. Well, yeah. What is that? What does that even mean?
Yeah. Okay. Now we have to end this stream. Cut it off. Shut it all down. It was a pleasure to meet you, Spike. It was a pleasure to meet you, David. I'll be in close contact with both of you guys.
Alex, thanks so much for coming. Spike, thanks for coming. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, do all the things, and we'll catch you back here next time.
Thanks.
Shut up and sit down.